Empaths, do you lean in when someone pulls away? If so, this video is for you. It's your girl, Keely Taverner, psychotherapist who's passionate about helping empathic people navigate one-way relationships. Because trust me, you are not alone. And if this video makes sense to you, share it with another empathic soul, because we all battle, we all struggle. Now, if you're the empath who tends to lean in when people pull away, it's absolutely okay. But pay attention. Potentially somebody else might be going through a situation, and relationships, it's two-way, right? It's important that sometimes we lean in, because we may also have the expectation that someone will support us should things not be okay. Secondly, if you tend to lean in, like I said, pay attention. Is the situation worthy of you leaning in? But also consider how long you're going to continue to lean in and prop up a relationship. Because if not, you could be setting yourself up for problems. We already know that empathic people have problems with letting go. We see the best in people. We have great hopes and ambitions for relationships. Therefore, when we see that things are deteriorating, we're not always great at calling it out and having difficult conversations. If you know what I'm talking about, give your girl a heart or a like, because it's good to know I'm not alone out here. However, put a time frame on how long you'll lean in, because if you're not mindful, you'll be propping up a relationship for years. Come on, let's be frank about it. We've propped up relationships for years. So the reality is, at a certain point, start to pull back. Notice what you notice. Notice if that person even notices. Notice that if you didn't prop up the relationship, what would happen? Often empaths, we don't like to experience the thing that we fear. So for example, if you prop up the relationship, if you notice someone's become distant and you keep leaning in and nothing's coming back, you try, you go above and beyond, right? And nothing still comes back at you. My encouragement to you is stop leaning in. When you stop leaning in, you're going to begin to notice and observe. Notice what you see. This is where we're giving the other person an opportunity to step up, or they may step down. Now, if we fear them stepping down because that's the relationship we want, it's a relationship that we hope for, that can be very difficult. And sometimes empaths, we don't want that relationship to deteriorate. We still want to keep it going. So we keep pushing in. We keep going hard. We arrange dates. We buy gifts, because at some level we are still trying to preserve the relationship, although we can see that other person is retreating. You can call that person out. You can try to have the conversation with them. If they have the conversation with you, that's wonderful. Communication creates transparency. You can see where you are now, what you are now dealing with. However, people won't always choose to have the conversation with you. So at some level, you can ask for the conversation. It doesn't always mean that you will get it. And that in itself, you have to make a decision. If you're with someone who's not communicative, then that's the reality of the situation. The relationship is going to draw upon you to keep leaning in. The benefit of being still and observing the relationship is you will begin to see the relationship for what it is. When you retreat and you stop trying, you stop going above and beyond, you stop coming up with ideas, opportunities to connect, you can then observe what you see. Often, when we lean in, especially if you tend to lean in for years, or you've done it for months and months and months, and maybe you feel someone's retreated from you, is one of the biggest challenges is we may fear that the relationship has come to an end. My empathic crew, I know you see potential in people. My empathic crew, I know you have wonderful fantasies about how relationships should be. But the biggest challenge you have is to accept reality. Sometimes you have to be mindful and notice what it is. Call it what it is. Like I said, I'm here to help empaths get out of one-way relationships. One of the ways we end up in one-way relationships is we keep leaning in when someone's pulled away. So one of the things we have to learn to do, empaths, is to, if we choose to lean in, there's no problem with that. Give it a time frame. Request a conversation. Share what you've observed. Give the person an opportunity to express to you what's going on for them. Then my encouragement to you is stop the leaning in. Be still. Notice what you notice. Often, empaths, the reason we end up in one-way relationships is because we often prop them up and we often lean in. Stop leaning in. Notice what you notice. And potentially when you stop leaning in, what's going to happen for you is you're going to begin to acknowledge and experience what you feared. We're going to experience what we feared, which is potentially the decline of a relationship, which may not sit well with you because you have great ambitions and fantasies and hopes of a relationship. However, we have to be grounded in reality. One of the ways we stay in one way, we give our all, we get sawdust back in return relationships is by holding on too long, perpetually leaning in, perpetually giving. Sometimes we need to let it die. But often empaths, we're not necessarily great at that because we hold on to the vision in our mind's eye. The next thing you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 years have rolled by and you're still in it. And that's okay because life happens. But one of the things we need to be very careful of is how we lean in and prop up relationships. When you stop leaning in, you can begin to see the relationship as it is and not how you wish it would be. I hope this video makes sense to you. If you've got any comments, suggestions, or queries, please put them below. I'm more than happy to answer with a video. It's your girl, Keely Taverner, psychotherapist who's passionate about helping empaths navigate away from one-way relationships. Do take care of you, because if you don't, who will?